the cloud native backup. So what do we have here? Usually will be AWS, one thing. Another one will be Azure, and also Google Cloud Platform, GCP. Okay, GCP. Now VCSP here stands for Veeam Certified Service Provider. Veeam Cloud Service Provider. This is the one that offers Cloud Connect partner. Okay, Cloud Connect partner. And another one will be the SAS, Software as a Service. Now, Software as a Service here, this is looking into O365 backup. Microsoft Office 365 backup. And it comes with additional license cost requirement for this backup itself. So you have public cloud, then you have the Cloud Connect. Now, over here we see public cloud. We are looking at how to protect data sitting in the public cloud. In these three native backup, same thing goes to your Office 365 that you can back up your data to on-prem equipment. Cloud Connect, on the other hand, is for you to store your backup or your replication with another provider equipment, for example. Okay, that will cover a bit on that. So first thing will be cloud native protection with Veeam. Okay, cloud native protection with Veeam. So what do you mean by cloud native? Pretty easy. If you run public cloud resources in AWS, Azure, and Google, now you will subscribe to Azure VM, Google VM, or Amazon EC2. These are virtual machine resources running in the public cloud. Now, when you're planning to protect the data and you're familiar with Veeam, now you can actually subscribe to Veeam Backup for public cloud as a service. Okay, as a service. So you can check from AWS. If you go for AWS Veeam Backup, okay, AWS Veeam Backup. So you will see there is a marketplace here in Amazon AWS. So you can check under Amazon AWS Marketplace for this Veeam Backup for AWS free edition. They come with free for I think 10 virtual machine backup, I'm not sure. Anything more than that, you will need to deploy or maybe add on additional costs. You will see here pricing below. They will give you additional cost estimation here for you to deploy the services. Okay, so everything shows in this page that you can have a look into that. This is just to show you running Veeam Backup natively inside your Amazon AWS. So when you purchase these services, although the license will be free first for the first 10 virtual machine backup, now they do come in a cost to deploy one EC2 virtual machine to host this backup software. Okay, so this backup software is running on Linux Ubuntu, a special version just for the cloud backup currently. Okay, so this is the thing that you can subscribe. Similar case to Azure and also Google Cloud Platform. So what do they have here? After I deploy this or buy these services, I can now control the backup running in the public cloud. So I can retrieve by utilizing cloud native snapshot to create my backup and keep it into the public cloud object storage. After I have the data here, I can add this object storage into your local on-prem VBR as external repository. Okay. So using this, you will have some additional options here. If I go to the backup server, under backup infrastructure, you'll see over here you have the external repository. Now this external repository is where you can right-click, connect to Veeam Backup for AWS, for Azure, for GCP, Google Cloud Platform. This is to connect your backup that is running in the public cloud, and I will able to detect the object storage here, as you can see, with backup created by this VM in AWS or inside Azure and also Google Cloud. So after I connect to it, what do they offer me? I can now provide to restore data to on-prem equipment if I want to. Okay, so the backup is stored in the public cloud object storage. You can use to restore data in the public cloud. I can even restore it into on-prem equipment. That's why we do able to restore as a virtual machine in VMware that we will cover tomorrow, okay, when we touch on the recovery topic. Okay, so the good thing here is I am protecting the virtual machine using native snapshot creation, and backup data will be stored in the object storage or runs in the public cloud platform. Unlike the normal unsupported cloud platform, we need to use agent to perform a backup, and the agent will then send data to the repository instead. They're using agent level just like a normal machine. Now, if you're utilizing native snapshot, you will have more flexibility here, and especially to these three cloud platforms supported. Okay? So over here for your backup, you'll see that over here, restore backup to the cloud can also be done. Okay. So before that, let's see. For Amazon, you will see that over here, I do have a diagram to share on how it works in AWS. So you can get this also from the documentation from Veeam. So you will see that over here, we have the particular cloud platform. I have my EC2 running, and using this native cloud backup, what do we have here? I can access to the EBS. The EBS is actually your service that holds your virtual disk for your EC2 VM. Now, utilizing this virtual disk, I can initiate EBS snapshot. It's similar like your virtual machine snapshot in VMware and Hyper-V. I'm able to create a snapshot based on my virtual disk level, and then utilizing this to store into the backup. Okay, now I will require additional cost here, maybe for the snapshot, I'm not sure. You need to double check in Amazon. I will require additional cost here for the worker node to run. Now, this is similar like your proxy. Okay, sorry, the pen is not supported here. Proxy. So the proxy is running like a worker node, has a service. So I need to pay additional cost to this to run maybe for half an hour to 1 hour. You will see that your billing will have this additional cost added. Okay, in order for me to create this cloud native backup, and the data will be stored into your S3 object storage. And in the cloud, you will have your own Veeam backup software utilizing web UI, if I'm mistaken, to control all these tasks to run in the cloud itself. Okay, so this is the Amazon AWS function, okay, for cloud native backup. So you can look for Veeam documentation to know more from that. Okay. Now, after you perform a backup on-prem, okay, you backup your VMware virtual machine, you backup your Hyper-V virtual machine. I can utilize all these local backup inside your backup repository to restore directly to AWS if you want to. Restore directly to Azure is supported. That's why Veeam here call themselves as Cloud Data Management, because they can now freely pull your data from public cloud back to on-prem. Sharding requires some downtime. Same thing here, restoring your data from local to public cloud. Okay? Local on-prem to public cloud using this particular button. So when I trigger this, what happens? You will see that inside your backup software, okay? When I go back to my options here, okay, I can select one of my backup running in VMware for myself here. When I select this backup, under the backup job 1, this virtual machine, I have two options here. You will see on top, when you select the backup data, I have Amazon EC2 Restore and also Azure. Now when you click on either one of these, they will bring up a window wizard to ask you about your Amazon account. They're basically helping you to create your EC2. This is Amazon, yeah? EC2 in this region and data center, and selecting which types, which VPC network for to connect, and proceed to restore your local data into EC2 formats of virtual machine disk, so that you can have the same data set, but now running as Amazon EC2. Okay, so they do support the same thing, restore back to your on-prem if you want to. Okay, so this is one of the example. If you go for Microsoft Azure, same thing here. Okay. Okay, so we can also subscribe, okay, restore back to your Azure if you have any subscription account here running. Okay, then you can utilize your proxy to restore as a Azure virtual machine. Okay, has an Azure virtual machine here. So direct restore to AWS and Azure. Restoring data, not only thing, they will help you to convert it into this supported virtual machine format, as you can see here. So it's rather easy for you to perform data management for on-prem and also public cloud if required for you. Okay. So this is one direction. Another direction will be pulling back your backup data from public cloud to on-prem equipment if you want to. Okay. So this is native cloud backup and restore support. Any question for this native cloud backup and restore? Before I move on further to the Cloud Connect and also the Office 365 backup. Okay, so over here, next thing we have additional support with the Veeam Cloud Connect backup. Okay, now if you're keen on using Cloud Connect backup, okay, Cloud Connect backup, you'll see that over here, Veeam has a few service provider that joins together for this program. Okay, so for example, each country, they will have certain partners that is offering these kind of services, what we call backup as a service or DI as a service. So what do they offer here is they are utilizing Veeam component here called the Veeam Service Provider, first thing. Okay. Now they are utilizing the backup repository here to create multiple cloud repository to use for different tenant, maybe tenant A, tenant B, tenant C, for example. Now each of them, maybe I will assign with different capacity based on their subscription package. Okay, subscription package. Now you now get additional repository space available. So I can add in here as my cloud repository. Okay, so my backup data can now send to this guy, and this guy will be sending via WAN link to the cloud gateway utilizing the public IP or URL. So I will utilize the tenant account to log in, and I will able to see this based on the cloud gateway redirection to the repository equipment. So all these will be prepared in the service provider place. So good thing here for tenant is I do not need to own the equipment. I do not need to subscribe to any data center location, etc. I will just use it like your normal Google Drive kind of subscription. Okay? I will have a space for me to keep my data. Now your connectivity from your on-prem equipment to this Cloud Connect partner will be utilizing SSL encryption basically. This is by default. Okay? So the traffic will be encrypted and protected. So first service will be repository available for you to keep your data, so you can send additional backup copies data here or backup directly to this cloud repository. So to keep your backup data in a different location and another set of equipment. Okay, so this is another option for you. And from the service provider, they can also offer ESXi machine for your remote replication. So I can define, for example, here, maybe for tenant A, how many, maybe 4 vCPU, then maybe 16 gigs of RAM memory, etc. here in this particular ESXi. And then I can replicate my virtual machine here too, based on the cloud gateway redirection also. So when you log in with this Cloud Connect tenant account, Veeam will then talk to the cloud gateway and also the service provider backup software here to see my account come with cloud repository only, or it come with both kinds of resources for me to utilize as my replication and backup location. Okay. So this service provider require a special Veeam software and license deploy. So they are used mainly for service offering. They don't utilize this service provider to make their own backup internally. If they want to do backup internally, they will need to subscribe to a normal Veeam backup software. This is mainly used to offer services to Veeam customer. Okay, so if you are keen on knowing more, you can go to your backup software. Okay, so under your backup software, there's a place what we call service provider. Inside your backup infrastructure, you can check on this service provider. Okay, this service provider here. Then you can click on define service provider. So they will redirect you based on your country. Okay, so you have this Veeam URL. Let me just see, can I post it out or not to you all, so they can access here straight away. So from here, I can check if I want to look for offsite backup in Malaysia. This is my provider, and this is my provider available. Now, if I would like to check, some of you are from maybe Thailand, right? Okay, Thailand, I think they do have it here. It's called Avesta. Okay. Indonesia, I'm not sure. Indonesia also come with another one, 2 or 3. Yeah. Okay. Exabyte. Okay, they do offer for Indonesia. I'm not sure about that. Okay. Then you have for Australia, all this. Okay. And also Vietnam. Okay. So these are the few things that you can check first thing for your particular Cloud Connect partner. So this is what we call Veeam Cloud and Service Provider. Okay, Veeam Cloud Service Provider. So they do offer for your cloud repository and also your particular ESXi resources if you want to. Okay, so they are offering it as a service. You don't need to subscribe to any physical location anymore here. Okay. Now, because Veeam component is used here, you can utilize this cloud repository just like normal repository. You can perform forever for incremental backup copy or things available. And you'll see over here, utilizing this repository, I can offer restoration options similar like what you have with your local repository component. So I can perform full VM recovery, file level recovery if you want to, things like this. Shooting instant VM recovery will not be recommended here. Okay? So it will affect your recovery services and also performance, basically. Okay? So this is additional support using the cloud service provider repository in your environment. So if you have customer or maybe having some requirement on looking into external backup location, etc., this might be another option for you to propose. A good thing is the service provider is using Veeam, so you have more supportability there, easy for you to deploy your solution there. Okay, so those are for VCSP, Veeam Cloud and Service Provider. Then lastly, we look into the Microsoft Office 365. Okay, now you see a lot of time Veeam actually advertise that they can protect Microsoft Office 365 data, right? Because when your data is sitting in the old 365, they don't generally give you a very proper, complete backup and restore solution, at least from Microsoft straight away. So if you're already running these services for quite some time and a lot of data are there, a lot of time you have accidental deletion and certain things like this, you would like to protect your data even more, you can actually consider to buy this Vim backup for Office 365. Now, this Office 365 backup is not actually additional feature or part of your normal Vim backup replication software. That's why when you look into your normal backup software console, you don't find this option basically. This Vim backup for Office 365 require additional software install. They come with their own console and also licensing. So if you check from Vim, let me just bring you to the website here, Vim backup for Office 365 license. Okay. So they do sell additional license here. And let me just show you the link here. So on top of the license that you already have, I need to subscribe and buy this additional license, minimum 10. Okay, minimum 10 and annual subscription. So they will average out 1 month, you need to pay like 1.68 USD per user basis. So minimum 10, and then you can add on more if you have more user. You buy the subscription license for more years, you will get discount generally. And you see that over here, this license is separated from your original license scheme, and the license are sold per user basis. Minimum 10. Okay, minimum 10 and including support. Now the license for per user, they can use to backup, exchange, even for on-prem. Also, if you're using Office 365, you have online, SharePoint Online, SharePoint on-prem. Okay, then they can also include the OneDrive and Microsoft Team data. So one license for one user, you can actually protect all these data set in one go. So it will be much more easier here, and it is quite affordable, so to speak, on the license part. You just need to prepare another similar component, such as your normal backup repository, for example. I can pull the data down and keep it into my repository. In case if I want to restore, I can always restore it back to the cloud or on-prem if you want to. So on-prem, if you have Exchange or SharePoint server, I can also utilize this Office 365 to back up user level data instead of the entire virtual machine. Okay, so this is another options available even for on-prem, Exchange, and SharePoint data. Okay, so if I am backing up OneDrive data, this is similar like your NAS backup. I will require a cache repository. I can even send my backup data to the object storage if you want to. Okay, so it's pretty flexible. Just additional software and license required. Then you can now pull your data to on-prem and keep it as another additional copy in case if you want to restore data to your Office 365 here. Okay, pretty straightforward, easy. Installation part, pretty easy. Okay, just need to install additional Vim backup for Office 365 software that you can look into from Vim documentation. Use data movers in this case. Now, you do not confuse here. Data mover is just a service. Your repository comes with data mover service here, right? Okay. So if you're using your Vim backup here, you can always utilize the same repository component to keep your data. Okay. So you can also utilize your object storage to store your data set here. Okay. So it will work together with your Vim component. Okay, with Vim component only. Okay, so over here you will see from your particular Office 365 when they pull data down, okay, they will have a local proxy deploy if not mistaken. Okay. That will also consider be your data mover service. So I'm not sure what do you mean by data mover service here? Because when you're utilizing Vim component, it's already using data mover service inside, over here. So this is for your backup. And then when you restore your data to Microsoft Office 365, I can utilize the Vim Explorer to browse my backup data in order for me to select certain items based on user, for example. I might not require to restore the entire user account data. I just want to look for granular, smaller data item. It can support to browse it with Vim Explorer, and then I can select to restore to on-prem or to public Microsoft Office 365. So this is pretty easy and handy. So you not necessarily need to restore the entire user data. You can choose now to see whether which file is missing, which email item is missing, etc. All this can be done here. Okay. So tomorrow when we look into the object recovery, we will also cover this Vim Explorer. They will give you some screenshot, how does it look like, things like this. And you will also have a lab to do that for your on-prem virtual machine restore, things like this. Okay. So lastly, if you have some additional cloud platform that does not support Vim backup natively, so if you want to back up your virtual machine data from maybe IBM Cloud, maybe from Alibaba Cloud, Huawei Cloud, etc., we can utilize agent software here to deploy. For example, your virtual machine need to have OS running, then I install agent software here. Agent software. Now the agent software required to have public IP to connect back to your on-prem equipment. So I'll be utilizing public IP point of view to connect to this agent to manage it and then initiating the backup using this kind of connectivity. Now you will see that over here, this connection is by default come with network encryption. Where does it come from? Now, pretty easy. If you go back to your backup software, under your backup software, when you click on main menu, there is a network traffic rules here. You will see that by default, you will have this network traffic rule apply. Internet, when they detect the connectivity is from public IP, encryption will by default enable. That's why when you're utilizing agent backup for a public cloud, by default, the network connectivity is encrypted. If you did not actually disable this rule is by default there. You can always disable if you want to. So any to internet, you will see that over here, this is looking into internet connectivity. So you will see that over here, the connectivity here will be encrypted by default. So security is a concern on your network. It's already applied. So from here, you will see the backup can actually pull down to your local repository to keep a backup copy. So when I try to restore, I can restore to also on-prem or maybe to other cloud platform if you require. So this is protecting data in the cloud. Any questions so far for this last topic? Yeah.